Welcome back to Unreal. That's what I've decided now. That's my intro. Today, I'm going to talk about Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, a 2023 action drama starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Dar Salim. The movie focuses primarily on US Army Sergeant John Kinley and Afghan interpreter Ahmed, who have to get back to base after a recon mission goes sideways, and also deals with the consequences of things that transpire after that. The Taliban are also on the lookout for them the whole time they're trying to escape, adding a layer of intensity to the scenes. The film explores the themes of war, friendship, and the bonds created through stress and trauma, as well as the loyalty and humanity shown in John and Ahmed's relationship. In this video, I plan to discuss the plot, the characters, the cinematography, and the message of the film, as well as compare it to some of Ritchie's other works. And yes, I called him Ritchie, like he's my mate. Deal with it. Without further ado, let's get into it. This video does contain spoilers. If you don't want the movie spoiled, pause right here, go watch the movie, and come back to this page. Oh, and if you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to leave your comments below. If you like it, would love to hear from you, and if you didn't, you should like and subscribe to really show me what's what. So, the movie starts with a flashback of a truck bomb attack in Afghanistan that kills Kinley's previous interpreter. Right off the bat, we get a glimpse into what the terrors of war look like. Having to watch men you serve with lose their lives can have all types of effects on a person. There's also a level of disassociation that happens when you know that the man next to you might not be there the next day. Even the pressure and the responsibility for the lives of your squad can leave people with survivor's guilt, which I've not really seen being tackled in mental health awareness campaigns. But yeah, he then meets Ahmed, a new interpreter who is very much disliked by the other soldiers for his past involvement with the Taliban. Kinley and Ahmed initially have a frosty relationship, but gradually they develop a friendship as they serve several missions together. During an undercover operation where they pose as drug dealers and a raid on a suspected arms cache, they find a hidden tunnel and are ambushed by the Taliban because one of the Taliban soldiers was able to put a call in for reinforcements. The whole team aren't able to make it out except Kinley and Ahmed. There was also a new guy on the team, and you would think with only 2 minutes of screen time, I wouldn't feel attached to him, but I felt his death the most, because we learned about his new baby back home. Anyway, they have to escape on foot, leaving behind their comrades. On a hill roll maneuver, Kinley gets wounded, and they decide to rest in a little hut overnight. In the morning, they're caught by the Taliban and Kinley's bonked on the head with the butt of a rifle, incapacitating him. Ahmed then has to carry him across miles of hostile terrain in the heat, facing many dangers and obstacles along the way. At some point, they encounter a friendly shepherd who offers them shelter and food, but he is killed by a sniper. Another unit out on their round finds them being roughed up by the Taliban at the shepherd's place and intervenes, where Ahmed is arrested by the military police for being a suspected spy. Weeks later, Kinley is back in the US, recovering from his injuries and suffering from PTSD. He learns that Ahmed and his family are still in Afghanistan and are being hunted by the Taliban for helping the Americans. He obviously feels guilty and indebted to Ahmed and tries everything to get him his special green card for military service. When he gets nowhere with that, he decides to go back to rescue him, despite the objections of his wife and his superior. He contacts a private contractor named Eddie, who agrees to help him for a pretty huge fee. They fly to Afghanistan and meet up with a local contact named Puya, who guides them to Ahmed's village. They call for an extract once Kinley finds Ahmed and his family. Earlier, while trying to get to the village, Kinley was spotted by a Taliban member and tails him. So when the evac is called, the Taliban pin them at the dam. Eddie comes in with the cavalry, killing many Taliban fighters. They manage to free Ahmed and his family. Ahmed and his family are granted visas to the US. There's this scene of Kinley and Ahmed just looking at each other, and I just think that's just a powerful scene. A no words needed type of moment. The movie closes out explaining that there are many Afghanis who helped the US in their fight against the Taliban but have lost their lives or are in hiding till this day. The Covenant is a character-driven war drama that focuses on the relationship between Sergeant John Kinley, a US Army Green Beret, and Ahmed, his Afghan interpreter. Both characters are complex and nuanced, and their newly formed friendship is tested by the harsh realities of war and politics. Kinley, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is portrayed as a rugged and experienced soldier who leads a team of specialists in recovering explosives or weapons of mass destruction. Throughout the course of the movie, he is shown as loyal, brave, and compassionate, but also suffers from PTSD and guilt over the death of his previous interpreter. He eventually comes to see Ahmed as more than just a translator, but also as a friend and a brother. He respects Ahmed's intelligence and courage. When he gets back stateside, he struggles with feeling indebted to Ahmed for saving him from an ambush and decides to risk everything to rescue him and his family from the Taliban. Ahmed, played by Dar Salim, is a former Taliban member who becomes an interpreter for the US Army after his son is killed by the Taliban. Quickly, we gather that he is cynical, pragmatic, and stoic, but also has a sense of humor and a soft spot for his family. He is not afraid to speak his mind or challenge Kinley's authority, and he knows the Afghan culture and politics better than anyone. He is grateful to Kinley for giving him a chance and hope for a better future, but he is also aware of the dangers and the betrayals that await him. He is willing to sacrifice himself for Kinley and his family, but he also questions the value of his covenant with Kinley. I think the white savior dynamic initially flipped on its head was a good thing. Ahmed represents the plight of the Afghan people, but he also represents the resilience and the dignity of a human being. There are a couple of symbols in this movie I thought were interesting. For one, the covenant refers to the bond between Kinley and Ahmed, which is forged by their shared experiences. In the Bible, the covenant is also a religious term that means a solemn agreement or promise between God and his people. It's to be taken seriously. In the movie, the covenant represents the moral obligation and the loyalty that Kinley and Ahmed have towards each other, as well as the faith and hope that they have for a better future. This is ultimately tested in the movie by the challenges and the dangers that they face, but it is also strengthened by their resolve. I found this comment online that the dam is a symbol of the power and control that the Taliban have over the Afghan people. I can't speak a lot to this, but even in our countries we know that whoever controls the resources has all the power as well as the potential for destruction and violence. It's also a symbol of the barrier and the obstacle that Kinley and Ahmed must overcome to save themselves and their families. The dam is the ultimate test of their covenant, as they must fight for their lives and freedom against overwhelming odds. It's also of the hope and the salvation that they seek, as they are rescued by the airstrike and the US military. The tunnel is the place where Kinley and Ahmed find a hidden cache of weapons and explosives during their raid earlier in the movie. It's a symbol of the escape and the survival that they're looking for. They use it to flee from the ambush and the enemy fire when it starts. Also, at the end, they go past a tunnel to get to the dam. So, like I said earlier, The Covenant is a movie that explores the themes of war, friendship, loyalty, and humanity through the lens of two characters who come from different worlds. The movie shows how their relationship evolves and changes over the course of their journey and how they influence and inspire each other. It also challenges the stereotypes and prejudice that often divide people and shows that there is more to a person than their nationality or ideology. I think the message of The Covenant is that war is a complex and tragic reality that affects the lives of many people, especially those who are caught in the middle of it. The movie shows the horrors and hardships war had brought to Afghanistan, as well as the courage and compassion of those who fight for their freedom and their dignity. It also highlights the importance of friendship and loyalty, like we see in Kinley and Ahmed. I was also challenged to question my own assumptions and biases and to empathize with the plight of the people living in war-torn regions of the world. I think this movie was great. I loved watching Kinley and Ahmed grow a mutual respect and brotherhood through their service together and ultimately in saving each other. We get a lot of information about a lot of the characters in the movie, even if they're just on for a few minutes. It really helps the people feel just like that. People. I was amazed to get to the end of the movie and not be sure who the main character is. I really enjoyed that, and it did feel refreshing to not guess the end of the movie going in. The Covenant takes the good guys who fights bad guys in Afghanistan story and makes it into a fight for survival story on every side. I enjoyed this take because that's what a war is. Like, can you imagine living through World War II and having bombs rained on you? I can imagine the terror I would feel trying to escape that. It is very serious and real, and it makes it all the more crazy to think it is somewhat based on a true story. People liked this movie a lot, and it's not hard to see why. It is different from other movies by Guy Ritchie. He usually makes funny and cool movies about crime and action. Some of his famous movies like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Sherlock Holmes and The Gentleman use a lot of style and humour. He also makes the story and the editing very fast and clever. But in The Covenant it's not that. He shows how hard and bad the war is for the people who live there. He makes the viewers think and feel more about the war and the people. Overall, I would give this movie 7 Oreo milk chocolates. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.